Hi, I'm Anne from Geeks of Green. So I had a few pots with me, a few broken pots, and I'm sure you would have them too if you were as clumsy as me or if you had toddlers running around the house. So I was wondering what to do with these pots, and it came to me that I can make a fairy container garden. So this is how I put a little fairy container garden together. So for those who don't know what a fairy garden is, I can tell you what it is. A fairy garden is a miniature garden, that is a tiny garden put together in any space. It can be put together in an outdoor garden, or it can be put together even in a container. Now it is a combination of real life plants, miniature plants, plants that don't grow very big, and figurines. Your fairy garden will always have a story to say. So you can take these fantastical characters and put them together into your tiny little fairy garden. It is up to you to choose the flavor that you will add to your fairy garden. You can use your own creativity. You can use any story that has inspired you. If you like fairy tale creatures, you can use those figurines and make something that is just out of your mind. When we make a bonsai, we make a miniature version of a large tree. In the same way, for a fairy garden, we make a miniature version of a large garden. You can use things like chairs, ponds, houses, little people, rivers, and anything you want. The sky is the limit. In addition to your basic gardening tools, you will also need a few things that will really go into your fairy garden, like figurines and stones and pebbles. Here are a few things that I have found lying around my house, or I've collected over the years. You can look around your house, and you can even look online to find a few things that you could use in your fairy garden. A broken pot, some gardening tools, some plant cuttings, a shallow white pot, a bamboo stump, wood chips, miniature plants, a small bowl or a saucer, some assorted pebbles, miniature figurines, and potting soil. So now that you've gathered all the things that you need to make a plan and a vision so that you know what your fairy garden is going to ultimately look like. For this, you can draw a little sketch which depicts what goes where. You don't need to stick to that, because as you keep making your garden, ideas will flow in and you should be ready for change. Okay, so first I have this wide container which is white in color and it is not very high. So I'll use that as my base. I'm going to put the broken pot, who's my main hero. And lastly, in goes my bamboo stump. So this is how my basic structure looks in. I'm going to put some plants over here and some over here maybe. I'm going to have a ladder right here, and I'm going to make a pathway maybe going from the ladder that is made out of pebbles. Then I have this space here, so I can use it for something that is like a pond with water in it. Okay, and this space here, again this space here, I'm going to use some plants, maybe some plants here too. Okay, I'm going to have my little dwarf right here. I'm going to put little rabbits all around here. I have this one wooden stump which I can probably use it somewhere here, right behind here. And I have this idea of putting a tiny little broken pot with the plants coming out of it. Okay, and this last top layer will be for some more plants. And then I'll have some rocks going here and fill this entire space up with rocks and stones. So this is a rough sketch of how my fairy garden will look like. Hopefully it'll look better than this. So let's give it a shot. Okay, first you need to add a few wood chips at the bottom of your pot. Wood chips always act as a filler, and you don't have to use too much of soil, so you save a lot of soil. And then the next thing you do is you add soil. The soil mix I used is there in the comment. You can check it out there. Even out the soil, and be sure to use a well draining soil. Now it's time to place the broken pot firmly. See that it is in place, and then add a little more soil, just so that you bury the bottom of the broken pot. Now you fill up the broken pot with soil, and it's time to add the wood stump. Be sure to place it firmly and bury the bottom of the bamboo stump. You can use your decorations now. I've used a stump that is hardwood that would not disintegrate in water. You can play around with your pots, you can keep them and see what works best for you. And then you can directly pot them onto the soil. Add additional soil as needed. The terrain need not be even, you can have tiny little hills and bumps. Even out the soil. Now I'm going to place my container for a little pond. Fill up all the gaps with soil as needed. Just ensure that all your things are sitting firmly in the soil. These are some plant trimmings that I trimmed from my garden. You can poke them wherever you want. Add as many plants as you can to fill in the gaps. Now ensure that the trimmings that you use are not won't grow into big huge plants. I'm adding pebbles to my pot to give my pond a natural feel. Using white stones is good because it's contrasting with the dark soil, potting soil, and the path is clear and visible. I am going to add a tiny little broken pot that has a very small plant growing out of it to this wood stump to make it look a little cute. Add as many trimmings, as many plants as you can in bare open spaces. These are the figurines that I'll be using. I'm going to place Snow White's dwarf right in front of the bamboo stump. Place as many stones as you can to fill up all the empty spaces. The idea is to fill this spot up as much as you can and don't leave any blank spaces anywhere to make the scene as interesting as possible. I'm going to place my little miniature rabbit figurines to make it look like the rabbits have been hopping around in the garden. Now it's time to fill water in my pond. I'm just taking a little hay and tying it up with some string to make a tiny little haystack. Which will be placed near the feet of the dwarf. I'm going to make a little ladder with the help of a few sticks. I've cut those sticks and I've stuck them up with Fevikwik. And I'm going to place the ladder and keep it in place with the help of some blue tack. I'm misting my garden to freshen it up a bit. as you saw today, it's pretty easy to make a fairy garden of your own, and it's a lot of fun too. So please go and try one for yourself and do let us know how it went. If you've liked this video, don't forget to hit the like button, and please do subscribe and share too. I'm assuring you that we have many more videos coming your way. Goodbye and have a nice week.